So we get into these away from petrol and diesel engines into electric cars that much more quickly. It means industry must respond incredibly quickly as well.
Mike, is the government doing enough to encourage battery manufacturers to set up here in the UK?
Well, there's been some investment, obviously, in terms of British Volt up in the northeast, Envision in Sunderland as well. But you've got to look at the overall picture. And first and foremost, battery manufacturers will not invest unless we have a healthy, vibrant car manufacturing industry, because obviously that's going to be your reason for locating it. But you also have to be competitive, competitive in labour availability, competitive in costs. And one of the biggest costs for battery manufacturers will be energy. Fortunately, they've made battery manufacturing classified as one of the energy intensive users, so you get some sort of mitigation. But the entire industry, especially in the UK, because we have such high energy costs, even compared to competitor countries, we need to do something to try and address those costs, because they're massive input and do undermine your competitiveness.
You mentioned, going back to what you were saying just now about challenges that the industry faces. I mean, the industry pays good wages, I think 14% above the national average. Is it doing enough, though, to upskill its workforce for the EV age?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, the pace with which this industry is changing, demands that skill improvement, skill development is fundamental to any business's planning. All the companies, have a lot of programs in place to try and, make sure that the highly skilled, talented and flexible workforce that we do have is fit for the future. That means learning new skills, new developments, learning to deal with high voltage systems. Potentially, there is significant change in the way of working. So everyone has to make sure that they've got the skills, whether you're in manufacturing and also whether you're in service and repair. So it's not just about manufacturing, it flies right through the supply chain into the market and the aftermarket as well.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, in the here and now, I mean, what's very clear from your report today is that chip supply is still a very, very critical issue for the industry.
It is. It's a global issue. It is a pandemic-related issue in terms of, we're still suffering the shortage of supply that stemmed from various lockdowns and, the allocation of their chips into other sectors. I think we're beginning to see things easing. They're not necessarily getting better, but perhaps they're not getting any worse. So, we're hopeful that manufacturing output will begin to improve. That then flows into new car registrations, delivery times and so forth, because a lot of customers are waiting a very long time for their vehicles. The industry doing all it can to fulfill those orders, but it's a supply constrained market at the moment. We know the demand is there. We need to capture that demand and ensure we can fulfill it, but we need to address that problem, which is, as I said, a global. It's not just affecting the UK industry, that is a global issue.
But you do see production picking up this year?
Yes, yeah, it will. Having said that, it's certainly the first 5 months of the year, perhaps couldn't get any worse. But I think, as I said, I think we're beginning to see things beginning to ease on a global thing. It will be erratic. It will be volatile. We're all, suffering various, headwinds coming from various geopolitical and supply chain issues. But it should begin to recover as the year goes on. But it will still be with us as an issue through next year as well.
In the meantime, Mike, what are you hearing from manufacturers right now about commodity prices? I mean, they've been really skittish. I mean, copper, for example, it hit a record high earlier in the year. It's come off about 20% since then. I mean, these are incredibly difficult conditions for manufacturers.
Yeah, it's the price. The prices are really erratic, and obviously the Russia's invasion of Ukraine put a lot of focus on certain raw materials and their future supply. So there's like short-term and medium-term, and the markets obviously already respond to the immediacy of threats to supply, and then you see what sort of supply chains how they can be substituted. That affects price. Planning and costing at the moment is incredibly difficult because of that volatility, and it's what it does seem to be one thing after another. And I think one of the probably the most difficult jobs in the industry at the moment is in purchasing, trying to forecast what costs are going to be and what supply availability is going to be like, because it's the raw material price, it's the logistics prices as well, and then obviously the inflationary effects that we're seeing in most major manufacturing countries.
Absolutely. Mike, got to leave it there. Good luck with the summit today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, now, there's no shortage of money chasing investment opportunities in the tech sector. Tech founders themselves often find that their backers have little experience in actually building such businesses. Well, a new investment platform called Plural, which launches today, aims to tackle that with a €250 million early stage fund. Its backers include Tarvet Hinrichs, the co-founder of Wise, and Ian Hogarth, founder of the gig booking business Songkick, And Ian Hogarth, I'm pleased to say, joins me now. Ian, welcome to you. There's a piece in the FT this morning in which you and your fellow investors call yourselves unemployables. What do you mean by that?
When someone has spent a decade of their life building a new product, it's really hard to go work for someone else because you've experienced the autonomy and the creativity of building something new from scratch. And so it's really hard to get a normal job after doing that.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from now. Why do you think, though, founders and entrepreneurs make better investors?
So if you look at some of the most iconic companies built, whether it's Netflix, Stripe, Spotify, Adyen, those are all startups, DeepMind, that were built by founders doing their second or third business. And the reason for that is that founding is, like many other things, a craft where you learn by practicing, learn by trying to get better at it. And we believe that if you're a first-time founder trying to build something really hard, let's say you're trying to make the first viable fusion reactor, you're going to be learning that craft for the first time. And you want people around you who've done it before, who can help you accelerate your development of craft and give you a greater chance of succeeding at a hard mission. So that's why we believe that former founders make better investors in extremely challenging new ventures.
And what are the kind of sectors in which you're looking to invest?
The four thematic areas we're excited about. One is what we call opportunity gap reduction, so expanding access to education, to finance. Another is mitigation of the climate crisis. So, for example, we funded a business called Field Energy that are working on grid-scale batteries to reduce the volatility in electricity markets. We're also interested in the future of governance. So as we make more and more powerful AI models, for example, how do we ensure that those are well aligned with human preferences? And the last area is health, where we've made numerous investments as angels and look forward to backing businesses like Certific that are working on a sort of fully scalable remote diagnostic and testing platform for at-home remote testing.
Obviously, there's been a big drop-off in the valuations of publicly quoted tech companies this year. Is this a good time necessarily to be launching a new fund?
I think, the sort of cynical VC answer is that, as valuations come down, you can kind of get cheaper prices and potentially see higher returns. So from that perspective, it could be a good time. But, we're less focused on the macro and more focused on systemic risks that keep building. So, we went through some of the most challenging time in energy markets over the last couple of years in the UK. We have a sovereign country, under attack in Europe for the first time in a long time. And those are actually the kind of areas where we seek to invest as Plural. So, I'm one of the first investors in a business called Helsing, which is building AI defense capabilities for European sovereign nations. So those are the kind of projects where I think that independent of what is happening in the macro financial environment, we can help build products that tackle some of the biggest challenges that society faces today.
But the tech sector is not an island, though, and presumably the fact that we've had these drop-offs in public valuations is going to feed through to private valuations.
It absolutely will, Ian, you're right. And I think that we've also got a generation of limited partner investors, for example, large US educational endowments that have been investing in venture capital for 50 years, perhaps. And so they've seen the cycles, and what they've seen is that the funds that were launched in 2008, for example, or the funds that were launched in 2002, were very successful funds because they kind of came in at the bottom of a cyclical wave and helped build some iconic companies when everybody who is slightly more like tourists to the startup ecosystem left.
Now, most fundraisings, they normally denominate in dollars. You very specifically denominated in euros. Is that because you see most of the opportunities that you're seeking in the Eurozone or on continental Europe?
The thing that we are most excited about is scaling up Plural so we can have a GDP level impact on Europe. And if you look at Estonia, where two of my co-founders are from, startups already represent single-digit percentage points of GDP. And we believe that if we scale Plural so that European startups get stronger and faster across a large number of industries, we can have GDP level impact. So that's why we are denominating the fund in euros and focused on Europe.
Now, you sold Songkick to Warner Music a few years ago, and since then you've invested the proceeds rather than start up another business. Did you not feel you wanted to have another go at setting your own business up? I
think the reality is that building a company involves a lot of pain. And then once you've done it, you know how much pain is involved. My business, we faced anti-competitive pressure from a company called Ticketmaster Live Nation. We were forced to sue them for that. In the end, the US government fined them $10 million for anti-competitive action against Songkick. So I've grown the scar tissue that comes from trying to do something hard. And I haven't yet found a single startup mission that caused me in that way. And until I came up with the idea with Plural, with my co-founders. And what we realized is that actually, rather than building one more startup each, we could maybe help build hundreds of European startups and help sort of give the entire ecosystem more leverage.
I hear you. Yeah, no one starts their own company with the aim of being dragged through the US courts for year after year, do they? Ian, good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ian.
Still to come here on Ian King Live, we'll have a look at how global markets are doing this Tuesday morning. Stay tuned.
Ukrainian government is confirming that they are now engaged with Russian soldiers. Air raid sirens fill the airways.
In the distance, artillery rains down.
It feels very close to the centre of... There's one.
They found this devastation to their apartment.
Lots of people live here. Quite a few of the windows of the houses have been blown out by the blast.
And it feels that it's changing each day.
I'm Hannah Thomas-Peter, and I'm Sky's climate change correspondent. The UK is a world leader in wind power. Power! Power! People! It's part of the Congo Basin rainforest, which is such an important ecosystem. It's known as the lungs of Africa. We aim to be the best and most trusted place for news. She doesn't really enjoy speaking to the press, and it wasn't clear right up until the last moment that she was going to sit down with me.
I might be just very naive, but I do believe that change is possible, otherwise we wouldn't be climate activists.
I'm confident for the last 30 years we have known how bad it is. I'm not here to apologize, I'm here to fight for the next step.
You can see just the piles and piles of stuff, these sofas and people's desks and children's books, and you can see inside this home here people trying to sort out their home. It's just been devastating.
I think everything's at stake. The future of our planet, the future of the beauty around us, the future of you and me.
Well, stocks in the Asia-Pacific region enjoyed another solid session overnight after China continued to lift some of its COVID restrictions. There were gains in each of Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai and in Sydney. Although Mumbai, which isn't on the screen there, that finished marginally low. I should say Wall Street had a pretty soggy finish last night. Pretty disappointing session across the Atlantic there overnight. Meanwhile, in Europe, stocks have traded largely to the upside this morning since the open. Here's the current pictures. You can see all of the main European stock indices up by between just under 1% and 1.5% higher. Right now, the MIB in Milan has grabbed the yellow leader jersey this morning. It's up by 1.5%. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in positive territory. Currently some 80 points to the good there, up 1.1%. That's largely on gains for some of the mining heavyweights. Commodity prices have obviously risen in response to China reopening some of those COVID restrictions. Accordingly, some of the mining heavyweights are higher as a result of that this morning. In terms of leading blue chip gainers, there aren't actually that many features around this morning for investors to get their teeth stuck into. But Centrica, the owner of British Gas, that is one of the leading blue chip gainers this morning, and that is on buying by one of the directors. Outside the FTSE 100, a couple of very interesting situations to mention there. The oilfield services group Petrofac, its shares are up by just shy of 3.5%. That is following a trading update, but look at that. The lower stock on the screen there, Pennon Group, that is the owner of South West Water, and the shares there are down by 6.25%. That is after the regulator Ofwat opened an enforcement case against the company. That is in relation to sewage treatment works. Obviously, there's been a fair few incidents across the industry there that have caught the eye of the regulator, and South West Water appears to be the latest one to have done so. So Pennon Group there, the shares off by 6.25%. On the foreign exchange markets, well, it was pretty quiet this morning, to be honest. There was a speech from the European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde earlier on this morning, so people were kind of sitting on their hands to wait to see what she had to say. Well, she wrapped up about 3/4 of an hour ago or so, and frankly, it's still pretty quiet. As you can see there, sterling is largely unmoved against either the US dollar or the euro. As for the dollar against the euro, well, there appears to be absolutely no change at all there right now. So pretty quiet session in the FX markets right now. As for the oil price, well, that is higher for a third day running after Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates warned that they were running up against the limits of their production capacity. A barrel of Brent crude will currently cost you $116.71 a barrel. That is up a little under 1.5% on the session. Well, with me now is John Wynne Evans. He's head of investment strategy at Investec Wealth Management. John, welcome to you. We had some pretty good data out of the US overnight, didn't we? I mean, are people perhaps getting a bit too pessimistic about the US economy?
Good morning, and certainly the durable goods numbers yesterday were a little bit better than expected, and the pending home sales numbers were as well. I think we caution about reading too much into 1 month's data, and also things like the durable goods numbers are affected by sort of one-offs, and I think there were defence aircraft items in there yesterday that helped to boost it. And of course, the numbers there are in nominal terms, so they don't necessarily account for inflationary higher pricing. But there was also a slightly more disappointing number from the Dallas Fed survey of manufacturing, which was quite a bit under expectations. So I think some suggestions that there's definitely a slowdown in the manufacturing economy in the US, but I think we'd rather look at, let's say, rolling 3-month data, perhaps, rather than just a single snapshot.
So nothing that you've seen overnight there that in any way changes the Fed's thinking about the direction and trajectory of future rate rises?
And certainly not at this case. In fact, if anything, the numbers yesterday would have cemented the case perhaps for the Fed going 75 basis points at its next meeting.
Now, last week and into this week, it's been a pretty good week for global equity markets after a really quite torrid fortnight. Is it too early to say that we perhaps hit the bottom a couple of weeks ago and it's upwards and onwards from here?
I think there's a touch of wishful thinking in that, perhaps. Certainly, if you look at the history of bear markets, you do tend to get quite decent rallies within them. This is the 4th big rally we've already had this year. And in fact, the biggest one at the end of March took, let's say, the S&P 500 index as the benchmark here was up 11% at that particular point. I think we rallied about sort of 6.5% on this one. If you go back to the tech bust bear market of the early 2000s, that had 7 very large rallies over the course of 2 or 3 years, averaging around about 14%. And similarly, during the great financial crisis as well, there were 5 substantial rallies. I think the biggest one of those was actually 24%, but the average again was around about 14%. So this is kind of part of the nature of bear markets, that they suck you in and give you a little bit of a hug and then spit you out again.
As you say, John, I mean, it really does suggest that sort of trying to market time in the jargon is a bit of a mug's game.
Indeed, and that's certainly one reason why we haven't wholesale exited from our equity positions, and the companies in which we invest for the longer term, we're still very comfortable with them. But I think we'd also feel that there's a good chance, I think, as we go through the summer, the possibility is that we're going to see some downgrades to earnings expectations. If anything, we're quite surprised by how slow that's been to come through, given the downgrades that we've seen to GDP estimates across the world and what's happening with inflation. So I think the chances of a bit of a margin squeeze are definitely there. That could be the next shoe to drop that takes the markets back down to those low levels again. We think we'll get another bite of the cherry from that particular perspective.
A quick word on commodity prices, John. Obviously, we've had a big sell-off. I mean, everything basically seems to be moving in response to whatever news has come out of China lately.
Yes, China definitely influences short-term movements in commodity prices. I think what we've seen, over the last few months, though, you've seen things like copper and iron ore coming back a long way. Copper is now actually, below where it was a year ago, and the iron ore price is about 50% lower than it was at its peak in March 2021. So I think a couple of things have happened here. First of all, a lot of investors piled into the commodity sector willy-nilly, maybe buying indices on the basis that they were looking for some inflation hedge within portfolios. That's a sensible thing to do, but probably got a little bit overcooked. And then most recently, with the downgrades to growth estimates around the world, we're now seeing the kind of more cyclical effects of maybe some destruction of demand for those commodities. And I think that's been overlaid, as you rightly mentioned, by what's been going on in China with the shutdowns there. But as China begins to open up, we will see some more demand coming through, and there are certainly long-term secular arguments for demand for copper in particular, obviously with the electrification of the world.
All right, John, we have to leave it there. Great to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Many thanks.
Still to come here on Ian King Live, the new scheme backed by Campari to train the next generation of hospitality industry professionals. Don't go away.
All ladies, you are invited to our premier 13th annual Women's Conference Lady to Lady Global Conference 2022. Theme, Joy. Date, Saturday, 30th July. Doors open at 11 a.m. Venue, Fairview's Concert Halls, the Phoenix Theater, Croydon, CR91DG3, United Kingdom. Register on www.ladytoladyglobal.org. Music Minister, CLC Healing Voices. Simeon. Queenie. Ada Ahe.
Congratulations, I have seen the glory of God.
Conference speakers Reverend Betty King, Pastor Marjorie, Pastor Sandra.
I did come to Lady, and from that day onwards, my life has never been the same.
See you there.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
And the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
It's your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for who? For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie.
Smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All my trouble, oh yes, God is good. God is good. Somewhere, somehow, I say it all the time. He is good, but for His favor or His grace, I will not be here. And I know that most of us will not be here as well. Some people who don't believe will say that, well, maybe by their own merit, they've been able to keep themselves alive, well, and doing whatever thing that they're doing. But I believe that some way, somehow, it doesn't take. It's not you. If not, you go to bed, you can decide I want to wake up at this time, or you want to do this. And people who have all the powers on this earth will say that, well, this is what I want to do, and they'll get on to do it. But when death knocks on the door of individuals, you see that, well, they don't have that power at all. So it takes the grace of God for us to be alive. And once again, I'm so grateful to God for being alive, and I'm grateful to God for you being alive as well, listening, and we joining in together to bring you another edition of the morning show. So I want to take this opportunity to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 28th day of June, the year 2022. The time now 10:44. Why am I talking about 2024? Something good is going to happen, right? Ghana is going to be having an election. Okie dokie do. Good morning to the team this morning, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, Mr. Frank Davis working behind the scenes, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. I salute each and every one of you, gentlemen. To all presenters and management of Star Radio UK, I salute you. Some say friends and loved ones. I salute each and every one of you. Our listeners, those of you in the UK, those of you in Americas, those of you in Europe, Asia, Australia, and on the African continent as well. I salute you all. Anthony Adedeji in Nigeria, I say massive good morning to you. Tosino, long time not here. I hope you are doing good. Our special envoy in Moscow. And to you listening to me, if I fail to mention your name or acknowledge you, I want to say good morning to you as well. Let me say good morning to Felix all the way in Aberdeen, my brother. I hope you are doing well. It's been quite some time now. I hope you are doing good. And Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, massive good morning to you. Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama, Dr. Morton, Mr. Kate Yelson, good morning to you. I promise you I'm going to get back to you. Yes. So don't you worry at all. I'm working on something and I'll get back to you on that. Dr. Martin, good morning. Mr. David Kluche, good morning to you. And to my apostle, Mr. Brother HB. Auntie Mary, Mrs. Mary Bruce, head pastor and head mother of the Church of Bible Life Family Ministries here in Croydon. Salute. Okay, so on the Tuesday edition, this is how the program goes. Let's quickly just drive on. I'll bring you the course for today, and then the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll come from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. And from there, we'll continue to look at what is happening when it comes to Nigeria, with the updates from Nigeria. That will be after the global trotting. And then after that, we'll go around looking at some of the stories across the globe. And then at 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. At 1 o'clock, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So in the gist, that's what we're going to be doing today. So once again, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Playing in the background, something from Accra Sibrin Pong. He says, hey, that means that he is good, right? A mixture of English and Ghana, one of the dialects spoken in Ghana. Okay, so stay tuned, don't you go away. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only. The quote for the day says, successful people are curious, willing to explore, and dedicated to their interests. How curious are you? Are you willing to explore? Well, take risks. At times it pays off, at times it doesn't. Well, all in all, it should strive on. So ask yourself, are you a successful person? Or do you want to be a successful person? Are you ready for that? Okay, Star Radio UK. Time for the end of the time. Let's move on quickly to have a look at what is happening on the weather front. Well, for London and the southeastern of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you today. Through this afternoon, cloud will start to build in from the west end, but it should remain rather bright, fresh southerly winds. Tonight will start dry and partly cloudy. During the early hours, a band of thicker cloud accompanied by patchy rain will push in from the west. Winds will diminish. Anthony, I'm glad you are doing well, sir. Amaya Jergene, good morning to you as well. Okay, when it comes to the temperatures, yes, the temperature is going to be 22 degrees, the lowest is going to be 14 degrees. Anthony is in the US. Anthony, yes. Good morning, Anthony. And thank you very much for waking up that early to listen to us. Okay, so the temperature 22 degrees, the lowest 14 degrees. Pollen level is going to be very high. UV level is going to be moderate and pollution is going to be low. Sunset 21, 22 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 04, 45 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today. And you can share with us what is happening when it comes to weather front. Wherever you might be across the globe, I promise to share it with all our worldwide listeners. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's cross straight to the travel update. I promise you, I'll let you listen to those music during the course of the program. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Check it out. Keep your eyes on the road. Let it be the children of the Keep your eyes on the road. Check it out. Check it out. This is Ghana, my people right here. Big shout out to all the people in Africa.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise. I'll on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:50. Yes, on the underground this morning, I can tell you assuredly, Piccadilly line has got minor delays between Acton Town and Uxbridge due to an earlier signal failure at Acton Town. Good service on the rest of the route, though. And then the London and tram link, the strike is planned by drivers on the London tram network in Croydon. If the strike goes ahead, tram services will be affected all day on Tuesday, 28th of June, and Wednesday, the 29th of June, and severe disruption expected on both days. Any trams that can run will be busier than usual. Services will run as normal on the evening before the strike. That is this morning. Okay, and they're still on the London tram. No service between East Croydon and New Addington, Elmes, and Beckenham Junction due to the strike action there. That aside, all the others good service. That's underground lines, London Overground, and TFL Rail. Now moving on straight to the river bar this morning. On the river bars, apart from the Woolwich Ferry that is still got special service, all the others have got good service. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise. I'll born the Starr Radio travel update that comes to every weekday from 10:40. Check it out. Now on the major roads in London, A4, A41, Central London Red Routes, and A205 have all got closures. Now A2 and A21 has got serious delays. If you can avoid them, do your best to avoid them as well. Also, A406, serious delays there. On the National Rail, we have Cross Country, East Midlands, Great Western, Great Anglia, Heathrow Express, London North Eastern Railway, Southeastern, and Thameslink all having minor delays. And also we have First Transparent Express and ScotRail all having special service. So please check before you leave. Now we're trying to bring you updates from the motorways as well, especially M25. Those of you who live in this side of the world. Now drivers are facing 9-mile queues this morning after a car overturned on the motorway. The accident happened on the M25 anti-clockwise carriageway at Junction 24, that is A111 Stag Hill Porters Bar. There is congestion back to Junction 26 for Waltham Abbey. Drivers are currently facing an additional travel of an hour time. So check before you leave. If you can avoid that, do your best to avoid that. But that aside, let me say it once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comment for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Yeah, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 6 minutes to the top of the hour. It's time for Global Trotting, and let's crack on. Well, when it comes to the update that's going to be coming away from Nigeria, some of the stories going to be looking at Supreme Court crisis. The Nigerian Bar Association wants ex-CJ, that's Chief Justice of Nigeria, probed. Ariwola sworn in. Workers demand autonomy. And then parents decry negligence as 10-year-old Akwa Ibom student dies. And bandits abduct Zamfara Noj chairman's pregnant wife. And 2 headers arrested for killing Lagos resident over crashed cow. And fuel subsidy refinery rehabilitation gulped 1.3 trillion naira in 5 months. Well, has it produced any fuel at all? That's the question. And the federal government rakes in over 2 trillion from marginal oil fields sale. Okay, so where's all that money going to? Yeah. Let me say good morning to Pastor Kwame J, Pastor Alex. Good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us as well. Regards to the family, wherever you are, I hope you are all doing very, very well. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe. Now when it comes to Ghana, well. Arise Ghana has appealed High Court ruling on protests, and therefore they'll be embarking on a protest today, sometime this afternoon to tonight. Well, we're looking into those, the planning of that protest. What do you think about all that? Well, somebody will say if you don't get people the chance to vent their anger, then they find another way of doing it, and we don't want those ways. So maybe that's the only way. The only way is to allow them to vent their anger through protest. All right, that's right. Okay. Now, some other stories making the rounds in Ghana as well. Let's quickly have a couple of them, and then we move on because we're going to be having time to look at it. But now it's just global trotting. Now, for your course of Ghana's economic growth, that's what Gachi is saying. The Dean of Cape Coast University Business School, Professor John Gachi, has described the management of Ghana's economy as problematic. His comments comes on the back of several tweets by a leading member of the party. All right then, we'll be looking into that in the next few moments when it comes to other parts of Africa. Now, Abdel Fattah Benham visits Al-Fashaka after 7 of his soldiers killed by Ethiopia. That is a Sudanese leader. Well, we'll be looking into that story as well. And South Africa, relatives and community leaders hold prayer service for 21 dead. Who? How? We're going to be looking into all those stories as well. In Malawi court sentences 12 for murder and transacting human tissues of humans, of man. Okay, with albino. Africa. Interesting one there. Okay, now let's move on to other parts of the world before I bring you some lovely music in the background before we continue with the program. At least 46 have been found dead in an abandoned Texas truck. The victims were discovered on the outskirts of San Antonio, 250 kilometers from the U.S.-Mexican border. A sad one there. But would that turn their immigration laws around, or is it going to be same old one of those things again? What are the pull factors? Again, someone say, what are the push factors? How do the Western world or advanced countries go? I mean, maybe destabilize the countries, cause things to be difficult for the people, and then the people decide that we have to go to a place where we think they've got greener pastures, and they find their ways coming here, going everywhere, like we saw here in the UK a couple of years back when some people also died in a trailer like that. Now, it's a sad one, but well, lots more we're going to be looking at as the program goes on. 5 key challenges for NATO at critical summit after Russia's shock invasion of Ukraine. What issues are likely to dominate the NATO summit? Today there's going to be a NATO summit starting today. So the Prime Minister Boris Johnson will be heading towards that place after the G7 meeting. Now, Ukraine shopping center strike was act of terror, Zelensky says. Now, this is Russia. They don't give a monkeys about whether it's terror, whatever it is, suicide or whatever. They're just going on. But I was asking yesterday, to what end, after they finish with the Donbass area region, are they now looking at destroying the whole of Ukraine, or what? Attacking the capital, or what? Now, woman killed by a stranger, a kind soul, friends say. Zara Alina, who was killed in East London on Sunday, lit up the whole room. Looking at the picture of her, very pretty lady, and I don't know whether it's another sexual attack that took place. I don't get it, or the person has the person got some mental ailment or something of the sort. Well, we'll be looking into all those stories as the program goes on. Russian threat means UK army needs more cash. That's what Minister is saying. Ben Wallace says there should be a further increase in military spending to keep people safe. Of course, it's inevitable, isn't it? Well, this and a lot more we're going to be looking at in the next few moments. Just stay tuned, don't you go away. Enjoy this song and I'll be with you. And this one is from Denzel Prempe, who says Nuku Nuku. There isn't anything but nothing that can actually describe God or the mighty God that we serve. So enjoy that music. I will be having Miss Olayomi joining us in the next few moments. Stay tuned, don't you go away. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
I don't know how to, but I know how to groan in the spirit, but not with my legs. Alright? Come on. Come on. I see you.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. All around the world. In your car, at home, on your smartphone.
Nothing that our God cannot do, okay? Somewhere, somehow it comes through for you. It doesn't matter the challenges that you might be going through or facing at the moment. I tell you, be rest assured. You know what happens when people lose hope of living the next minute? That's when they commit suicide. They kill themselves. They bump themselves up. But somewhere, somehow, faith. Just believing that someone bigger, greater is behind the scenes working for you, keeps you going on. So there's a prayer for you. Noko noko. There is nothing and absolutely nothing that God can't do, or whatever you believe in. Alright, and it is Starr Radio UK. Whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to join in, some of the stories that have made rounds in Nigeria. We did actually touch on the story last Friday when he was arrested, or both of them were arrested. Former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice have sued the National Identity Management Commission, that's the Nigeria Immigration Services, and two commercial banks in the Federal High Court in Abuja. The duo filed a suit before Justice Iyan Eko and made allegation of organ harvesting against them by the United Kingdom authorities involving one David Wamini. Information coming through says the police said it had arrested Senator Ekweremadu and his wife of allegation of conspiring to bring a child to the UK for organ harvesting. The couple later appeared at a UK court which ordered that they should be remanded in custody till July 7 while investigations continue into the allegations against them. Now, while the Met police said Wamini was 15, the NIS stressed that its issue an international passport indicating his age as 21 after due process. So is it that he's 21 but he looks 15, or what exactly is happening? You know, when it comes to our part of the world where birth certificates, I can go get birth certificate from someone's bathroom. Well. There are some systems that are put in place to check all those things. Or maybe they might have done a carbon test or something of the sort. Yeah, right. Okay, so ask Yomi. They said the other time when he went live there to report on that story. I promise you one thing for sure, that come the 7th of July we'll be going back there to the courts to bring you all that you got to know about that particular case. So don't touch the dial at all, and don't be worried at all, because Starr Radio UK, we're going somewhere, and we're going to make sure that you get all the information that you need to get. And it's Starr Radio UK. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages as well. It's now 7 minutes past the top of the hour, and it is the morning show, and I've got Mr. Olayomi Koiki. It seems that I can't see him at the moment. Okay, now I can see him. Well, so I hope that you enjoyed that tune from Denzel Prempeh. There is nothing that God can do. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Keep on keeping on. But I can tell you we are keeping on because I have Mr. Olayomi Koiki with me. And Yomi, let me say good morning to you.
Well, it is a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe. It is the 28th day of June 2022, 7 minutes past 11. Looking at the window view, it is quite calm. A couple of roads, vehicles, movement, and I'm sure it's because it is the school hour, and that means most of the students are already in school. I'm doing very well, and it's good to be back again with you this morning and the rest of the team.
Yes, thank you very, very much. We thank God that you are doing well as well. But let's crack on. Now, first of all, Senator, former Senator, or Senate President, Vice President Ekweremadu, who was apprehended by the UK authorities here for organ harvesting case or charge, because they are really reckon he was bringing a minor in to do that. Now, it's happened that they have sued the Nigeria Immigration Service and what is it? Identity. Let me try to get the name. The other organization. That's
Ekweremadu.
Yes.
Ekweremadu.
Ike Ekweremadu. Okay, Ike Ekweremadu and Beatrice Ekweremadu. They said they've sued the NIMC and immigration. We know that they are incarceration here. They were not allowed a bail, so they are still here in the UK. Now they've done that. That means that they did that through their lawyers. Now, why are they suing this immigration and this NIMC for?
Well, quite a lot has been happening since he is actually the former deputy, Senate president. He's been there since 2003, and as we were aware of, we were at the Magistrate High Court at Oxbridge on Friday, and what we can say is Ike Ekweremadu is still in the custody of the UK government. That means it will still be here till at least the 7th day of July, when he will be returning back again, and that will determine where the case will continue, whether there will be evidence to indicate that maybe the British government were wrong for that allegation. Sometimes allegation does happen, and he would have that opportunity to sue the government here in UK, for the damage of whatever we can call it. But let's first go into what the federal government is also probing. Federal government is now probing the organ donor data privacy breach. And that is why we've got to be very careful from us here in UK, but in Nigeria everything goes, as we know, because most of the journalists in Nigeria, not every one of them, they are what we call the brown envelope journalists. And what we can say, the federal government through the Nigerian Data Protection Bureau is now investigating the breach of data privacy of David Inwa Mina, a young Nigerian at the center of the allegation of the organ harvest against the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. The development came after the picture of his passport became something on the social media circulating. So that is about that. So that means the question is, who leaked the passport of this David that is in the center of this situation? What we were told by the British government is a minor, but looking at the passport that I've been able to have access to myself, I've seen it on the social media, is giving a different date of birth, and is also indicating that he is not a minor. Should we look at it from the passport? But I did talk about, a Nigerian passport is also in the hands of so many terrorists in Nigeria today. So that means for people like us, we do not believe that the Nigerian passport is as valid document, especially when an average person that is not Nigerian can actually acquire that. The question you ask is about the sue that the Ike Ekweremadu, they'll probably not be able to do much while they are in the custody, but they'll be given the legal right, here in the United Kingdom, as they're still being held almost a couple of days away now. Alleged organ harvesting, the headline says, Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice have now sued NIM and Immigration and others. The former Deputy Senate President and his wife Beatrice have sued the National Identity Management Commission. Again, I remember I went to Nigeria, I think around 2017, when I registered for the NIM. Up to date, I've not been given, the full name itself. We were just given a temporary, paper, and you could just tell that something has gone wrong, between what must have happened, and that's probably why they believe that by suing this, NIM, they're also suing the Nigerian Immigration Service, and they're also suing 2 commercial banks in the federal court in Abuja. Like I said, it's a long process. And those that are in favor, like they will say, of Ike Ekweremadu, have to be patient and allow the British government to do the diligent work in terms of their own investigation.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios, and we're bringing you updates from Nigeria. But let me acknowledge a couple of people who have joined us, and we continue. Prince Abimbola Usode says, good morning, White Lion and Mr. Frank. Oh, okay, this is Archie here, Prince. And then let me say good morning to Moses Olaniran. Moses says that he says good morning, day and nice stuff. That he says Biafra should be declared state guns free nations after we get them soon. God will, everyone, God willing, every one of indigenous will be allowed to carry guns for self-defense. Now it goes on for Zamfara State will be declared gun-free country states soon, according to the news last night, and it says wow, putting some emoji there, surprise. Now Terry Omo Alade says Eku Eto. Yeah, good morning to each and every one of you. Post your comments on our Facebook page or on the YouTube channel or whatever platform that you're listening to us from. And I promise you that we're gonna be reading that as well. But now let's go back to Yomi. Now Yomi, today we have Kano appearing before the courts once again. Now, when the president was posed a question, or when the prime minister here spoke to the president in the Commonwealth meeting that was held in Kigali, now he said, well, Kano is a flight risk. They were virtually accusing him that because he jumped bail some time ago, and because of that, and he said that he has to answer questions for whatever thing that has gone on. But the question is, is the court proceedings going to go on at all? And he calling for calm. Are they suspecting or expecting some uprising or something to happen today?
Well, I'm going to give us a background picture of the latest from Nnamdi Kanu as is being put together by the engineer behind the scene. But yes, you're quite right. He's currently in the court, as we know right now. And just as you did talk about it, Buhari spoke about Nnamdi Kanu case, and I believe it could be that engagement, that took place between Boris Johnson, that was also in Kigali, and Prince Charles were also there as well. And right there is the face of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Yes, Buhari says he will not give any chance for Nnamdi Kanu, when it comes to any bail condition. But what we can say is the lawyer argued that Buhari do not have the right, according to the ongoing court case, to decide who grants the bails or not. That is meant to be the court to make that decision. But what the headline that I got here, and quite a lot of different article that has coming out, Kanu has appeared in court today and also calls for calm, according to what we know. Ahead of the case coming up, which is today, before Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Kanu, has called on his supporter to maintain absolute civility in their conduct, as always been demonstrated. The IPOB leader, who has been standing trial against alleged terrorism, that he was kidnapped actually by the federal government from Kenya and rendition back to Nigeria, also said he was fully prepared for the court appearance, as he was in good spirit. He has already appeared in the court this morning. Like I said, I've seen the video, and that is his picture that we've just put behind us at the back there. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. Once again, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And as I speak today, quite a lot of demonstration is ongoing right now. I'm aware of one currently at number 10 Downing Street, and likewise all over the world. His followers and those that believe in the cause of the Biafra, self-determination, which is not a crime under the United Nations and the African Union chapter, are all over the world again demanding his release.
Well, they demanded his release, but they haven't any impact at all. That's the question that people seem to be asking. Oluwafemi Rufus, good morning to you and well done to you, sir, as well. Now, the statement that Buhari made, I was just reflecting on it, and I was thinking that it looks like it infers that the federal government has a hand in what decisions the judge is making or taking, because if the president can come out straight to it and say that no, he is a flight risk and therefore he will not be granted bail, that means that is what they have told the unless of course their representatives, that's the Attorney General of Nigeria, who is representing government on that particular case, that is what is putting across, that is a flight risk and therefore he should not be granted bail. But I think it's up to the judge to decide whether, looking at all the options, whether it's a flight risk or not. What do you think?
Well, you're quite right. It is not the government that decide that. That is from the judicial aspect. Yesterday, was the breaking news of the removal of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria. That has also got a lot of allegation of corruption. That we might talk about. But let's take us back to a tweet that Buhari on his Twitter was removed. Some few months back. Twitter removed that post by the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari for violating the rules. And when you look at the way Buhari reacts when it comes to the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, you would then want to ask the question, if he can only react to the way the Fulanese terrorists are killing innocent Nigerians across the northeast, the northwest, the middle belt, the southeast, the southwest, and the south-south, you will wonder why the push is not that. But what we do know is there's also allegation of so much embezzlement by the former Chief of Defense Staff Buratai that is currently being put as a bait, in Benin Republic as we speak right now, as also stash of money found in some of his residents, across the country. And the tweet that made Twitter to remove that tweet that led to a row between Twitter and the federal government is, it was actually referring back to the 1967 and the 1970 Nigerian Civil War, and to treating those misbehaving today in the language that they will understand. And that also indicates that this government, as a lot of people have said, have not just only marginalized, the Igbo, it has also marginalized a lot of Nigerians. And from that tweet, it was removed, and that became a question to, is Buhari for the people or for his own kinsmen that are known as the Fulanis?
Well, listeners, it's interesting. Very, very interesting. But let me pose a question there. If you're listening to us, I want to see what you think about that. Is the federal government getting their priorities right when it comes to the protection of the citizens of Nigeria? We're looking at Fulani herdsmen going rampaging, killing people, abduction that is going on, and all that. People have to be paying what we call the ransom before their families and loved ones are released. Somebody paid even ransom the next time the person was captured and was murdered. So you ask yourself the question, what exactly is going on? Are the federal government getting everything right? Or, they just want to look at, hey, these people who are secessionists, they want to leave the country, and therefore we need to clamp down on them. What are they doing? Do you feel very comfortable? Do you feel secure in your own backyard? Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Adebanjo Yusuf says, good morning, White Lion. Yes, Agbe. I don't know what the Agbe means, but I think Mr. Ladi Kweki will be able to tell us what Agbe means. Good morning, White Lion, Agbe. Okay. But now, let's move on to the Supreme Court crisis that seems to be going on. It looks like the former CJ, that is the Chief Justice, who just stepped down only a couple of days ago, that was last Sunday, and has been replaced by Ariwola. But they are calling for him to be probed. Why are they calling for him to be probed?
Well, so many people will have to be probed, in Nigeria as far back as 1960 till date. But let's move forward. Just few hours after, the resigning from office, senior advocate of Nigerians, lawyers, civil rights groups, and some branches of the Nigerian Bar Association has just been like people that have been waiting, for him to resign, are now calling for the probe of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Mohammed. The allegation against the former CGN should not be swept under the carpet. Mohammed's resignation was made public on Monday morning, according to report. He tendered his resignation on the grounds of ill health. There's also a kind of a twist to whether the government is trying to play down, especially the current CGN now is a Yoruba man. Maybe that will who those that are campaigning for Yoruba self-determination, or it could also be used as a bait, to decide the case of Nnamdi Kanu as well. But what we can say is, barely after 14 Supreme Court justices in a joint petition level grave allegations of maladministration, financial impropriety against this particular person, the question is, are we going to get justice? As we do know. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I come back again to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, interesting developments in Nigeria, I tell you all the time. But let me come back to Yomi. Now, do you think that maybe now appointing a new CJ who is is it a Yoruba person? Is he a Yoruba?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Okay, he's a Yoruba person. Now, was it over the weekend when I was reading stories about the former CJ, and they said he came from the north and that he was looking at Islamizing the whole of Nigeria. And people were, I saw a lot of tweets and Facebook posts that was quite, see how serious people were about the whole thing. But my question is, appointing a Yoruba person now, do you think it will actually change the stance of Nigerians, and especially those of you from the south? Would it make you now feel that, okay, like you said earlier on, maybe to bring the case of Nnamdi Kanu to a different and then even the ways federal government is looking at Sunday Igboho's case, where compensation that had been ruled out, that the state should compensate Sunday Igboho, everything like that. Do you think that will actually bring a bit of faith and some hope for Nigerians as a whole?
Well, we'll have to wait and see in the next couple of days and months, in how a lot of the crises, a lot of issues affecting Nigerians, and the ones that a lot of international community are well concerned, especially the genocide that have taken place, the humanitarian crisis, the IDP, all these, and maybe the new Chief Justice of Nigeria will probably now have to enforce, especially using the name bandit, on some of these criminals that are terrorists as well. And just like you talked about the issue of Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho and the issue of Mazin and the Kanu, and we also have a lot of other issues that are pending that will probably be on his table. But is a Yoruba man being changed from the previous one, to calm things down? What those that believe in the self-determination have always said is not even Tinubu getting a ticket, as we said yesterday when we were looking at what Professor Banji Akintoye said, the leader of the Ilana Omo Oduduwa, said that even Tinubu getting a ticket will not stop the Yoruba struggle to come out of Nigeria peacefully.
Well, interesting one. So if you're listening to us, do you think, at times they talk, some say they say black on black crime. I mean, you want somebody, if you put a Caucasian person there and he will do something and people will say that is racism. Okay, when you put a black person there or somebody their own kind there, and then they will do it to those people, some of them will do it so bad, even worse than what people who are not, does not hail from the same place, geographical area hail from. So are we going to be saying anything different from what the former CJN had done, or is it going to be same old? It's just a matter of time. We all have to wait and see what was going to happen. But I'll be following the proceedings at the Nnamdi Kanu case at the moment. That is ongoing. We don't know whether they've postponed anything of the sort, but at the moment it looks like it's still going on. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go back to Yomi for some of the other stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Yes, once again, thank you so much to all our listeners. And let me quickly read this article from a brother, Bayo Oluwasami. Elections can't fix what is wrong with Nigeria is the title. As a lot of Nigerians are, expecting, the country to go into another election. Let us look at the timeline on our own on Starr Radio UK this morning. Whether there will be an election or whether there won't be, it is now almost 227 days, and that means 13 hours, 33 minutes, and the seconds keeps going down. So let me read a little bit from this article that was posted yesterday. Again, elections can't fix what is wrong with Nigeria, by Bayo Oluwasami. So how can we be called Nigerians? How can we be called Nigeria one country? We are not one country. We are of different nationalities. Yorubas are not Nigerians. We are Yorubas of Yoruba nation. Can't elections erase or deny this obvious fact? Absolutely impossible. Nigeria is on a life support. The diagnoses and prognosis are scary and hopeless. Nigerians are living in a country that mirrors in all instances the conditions in the hell, but the selfish, inordinate, and obdurate politicians are hell-bent on conducting the 2023 election. The problems confronting Nigerians are more than what the presidential election or any presidential candidate can fix. The problems of language, religion, ethnicity cannot be resolved by conducting elections. The differences in our values, morals, expectations, institutions, patterns of beliefs, and behaviors that represent our different history, culture, tradition, and aspiration and worldviews can be cemented together in elections. So we leave our audience from Nigeria to decide whether another 2023 election will fix the problem of Nigeria. You want me to come back to the studio?
Yeah, a quick one there. Now, this is quite an article that the person has written, and that is quite mind-boggling, because you ask yourself the question, how many people from the South, let me put it that way, have gotten their PVCs? Okay, and are they going to vote? Because we have a cleric, what is it, Pastor Adeboye, one of them, saying that, well, every pastor in his church should make sure that when the members are, whether they are going to inspect whether they've gone for their PVCs or what. So you ask yourself the question, are you people in the South for the election or against the election? Because if you say, okay, we all decide that we don't want the election because we don't think the election is going to sort the issue out for us, so we're not going to vote, we're not going to take the PVCs, that is a different ballgame. Then people will know that this is a proper protest. But we don't seem to see that. So that's article.
Well,
that's
when it
thing.
comes to the issue of the PVC, it is something that has been used, to bring our people down. What I mean by that, PVC should be something that you should be able to collect without being enforced to collect. But in Nigeria today, the students and the traders, especially the traders that we know are the bulk of what is happening. And yes, we do have about 60% of the youth. TBS was being brought to a open where PVC was encouraged, and that is an agenda from the European Unions, because what they wanted to do again, as usual, is to enforce Nigerians, just as the British High Commissioner says, your hope is another election, your hope is on the PVC. But the question based on these article that we've just read is, are we sure, based on the ethnicity, are we sure based on our language? Chief Mrs. Modupola will be live again, speaking to some of the media again tonight. She spoke to us about 2 weeks ago. We're having another very brilliant guest tomorrow on Starr Radio UK, and we're still working to get in Omoyele Sowore and the rest of them to come and get their views here on our platform. But she said something, remove the language English from Nigeria, what next?
Interesting. Well, if you are listening to us, the question is, you have your PVC, fine. Assuming you are being forced, or they tell that if you don't have your PVC, you can't do that, you can't do that. But when it comes to voting, will you vote? Will you vote? I want to know your take. But let's acknowledge a couple of people and then I'll come back to you, Yomi. Shamsuddin Oladipopo says, Yoruba Nation, now. Lukman Maus Yobami, yes, heart of love, a lot of love to you as well. And Ismail Ridwan, Ismail says that Yoruba Nation, that's what we want. Okay, yes. So continue to bring your comments through. Let me just quickly check the YouTube and see whether there have been any. Oh yes, there is more comments coming there as well. Comfort Olugunja, I hope I pronounce your name well. It said resuscitation, verify Nigeria death. She is of the view that Nigeria is already there, so don't do any resuscitation. But what do you think? Should you people be giving a referendum? Would you take that one on board, or you go to the elections and it's a protest vote? You vote against. Who are you voting against? Is it the North or the South? What do you do? Well, we'll be seeing that. Yomi.
Well, yes, sir. Let's go straight into the other conversation. APC denies raising 6.5 trillion to bribe voters and INEC and officials. Part of the headline this morning. Tinubu travels to France amid running mate controversy is also coming as well in the headline this morning. And let's go back again to look at some other headline. That's from the politics side. We're going to look at the the business side as well. We do know that there's a lot of ongoing issues. I've been looking at the fuel subsidy, refinery, rehabilitation got 1.3 trillion naira in 5 months in the NNPC. I mean, we're talking about the NNPC where nothing seems to be functioning to the fullest, but yet money keeps being pumped into this part of what should have been taken down, as a lot of Nigerians would like to know. The amount spent as subsidy on the petroleum motor spirit, popularly called petrol, on refinery rehabilitation between January and May this year has now got 1.3 trillion according to figures released on Monday by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited show. NNPC disclosed this in its latest presentation to the Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting for the month of June. The bulk of the oil firm's spending was on petrol subsidy, which only favors the big cabal but not the average Nigerians, as it consumed 1.274 trillion during the 5-month period. While for refinery rehabilitation, NNPC spent 9.11 billion naira in each of the months of January, March, and April, amounting to 27.33 billion. An analysis of the NNPC monthly fuel subsidy spending indicate a continuous rise in the amount incurred as subsidy by the federal government through NNPC. So definitely some people will be laughing into the bank while Nigerians continue to languish in the situation that they are facing. Federal government to unveil host community trust regulation trust, broadband penetration, authenticity declined as telecom battle vandalism as well. Again, federal government rakes in over 2 trillion from the marginal oil field sales as well. So we're going to go straight to one or two more headlines, and then I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. Once again, it is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles, and the best way to listen to us is to make sure to download our apps. No man will appoint a governor for Rivers people. That is also coming from the headline. Christian women group decries insecurity in Nigeria. Remember that over the weekend, 2 priests were killed by the terrorists. As we know, I was listening to a terrorist that was apprehended by Amotekun in one of the southwest states. Only for this morning, a video surfaced that same person somehow has now vanished from the prison that he was kept. And let's look at this headline. The Christian Women Fellowship International, a non-denominational women organization that was founded by the preceding Bishop of Church of God Mission, Archbishop Margaret Idahosa, has decried the prevailing insecurity in the country. I'll come back now to you in the studio, and when we go back, we're going to look at what is happening on the social media.
Well, when it comes to insecurity, the question is, what is government doing? And I was saying earlier on, has government got their priorities wrong when it comes to the security of the people? Instead of tackling the Fulani, the herdsmen menace that seem to be going on, and making sure things are taken along economically, and making sure people are not marginalized. We see people who are being marginalized and think that, look, we want out of it. And government says, no, I'm going to crack down on those who are trying to agitate that they want to leave. Well, Lukman Maus Ayobami says, we the youth of Nigeria are suffering in Nigeria. Natai Oshegun Sunday says, recognition, hashtag recognition 2022, hashtag no going back, hashtag Yoruba Nation exit this year. Oh my. So we've got a Yoruba exit. Yeah, Yoruba exit is going to be happening this year. Well, how many we are in the 6 months? So we've got another 6 months. Will that happen? Well, Lukman says, Lukman, thank you very much. You are watching from Ogun State. I hope Ogun State has got a nice weather today and you're feeling very calm and you're secured, right? May Nigeria never happen to you. And then Kosin Mola Oluwa Damilari, my apologies there. Nigeria is not working. That country is a scam. And people continue to bring those comments through. You can just actually see that. Well, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, you were talking about these 2 herdsmen who have been arrested for killing Lagos residents over the crashed cow. Now, whilst I want you to give us a bit of background to what happened before the cow was crashed. Eventually, I think over the weekend we traveled, and on our way back we were on the M25 or one of the, I think early part of the M25, I think, and there's a crossing where it's a path there, and we saw people, a herd of cattle on there, and I was saying, if it was Africa somewhere, you will see that you will have these cows running on the motorway,
and not on their ranches.
Yeah. So you ask yourself the question: what are the government, the rules that, or the laws that is being put in place? I remember that the governors in the south were saying that they were coming out with rules that they will not allow herdsmen to be just moving their flocks, their herds of cattle just about any way that they want. So what has happened to that?
Well, I think the state that have been able to enforce that we can talk about is Ondo State, and we saw how the terrorist herdsmen, because as far as we're concerned, these are people that are not going to listen to the state directives, but we saw how it has always been. Yes, that news filtered out very, very swiftly and quickly from where a vehicle. As we know, the cows are being moved on the main road, and a vehicle collided with one of the cow, and I think that led to the crush. 2 herders have now been arrested from what we heard on this headline. Lagos resident over the crush of a cow. Like we do say, Nigeria never happened to you. One of them was a conductor that was killed. I saw his video and his picture lying flat on the ground, and this happened very close in Lagos, in somewhere in Badagry. The two yet to be on the identity cattle herders on Monday reportedly stabbed a man to death in protest against killing of a cow around Agemo in Badagry area of Lagos. The herders were crossing the expressway, which you were talking about here in UK. I was traveling as well over the weekend to Luton. I was able to see some of the cows that are being kept in their ranches. They're not coming onto the main road, because if they've done so, not only would the vehicle kill them, but they would also create a lot of accident if you're driving about at least 60 to 70 miles per hour. So what we can say is, one person, the bus conductor, was stabbed to death. Passengers flee for their lives, while the driver also escaped. Anger by the development, the herders accosted the driver, demanded payment for the dead cow. It was learned that the request for payment led to an argument that degenerated into a fight, as the herders allegedly stabbed the victim to death.
A sad one there. But let me, Yomi, once I'm going to acknowledge a couple of people. Somebody's posing a question, and you might have to answer that ASAP. Now, Colin Shakaina says, good morning, watching from Oyo State, Ibadan. Colin, yes, I've been to Ibadan before. It was a nice place at the time. Now, Taiwo Shegun Sunday, he says, amen, may Nigeria never happen to us. And then Joshua F. Moses says, please, Mr. Kwaiki, what time is Mrs. Onichiri coming to the show today? He said he is itching to know, so please, can you let them know what time?
8 p.m. later on this evening, and the broadcast will be transmitted by most of the medias that are running the Yoruba self-determination. So 8 p.m. tonight, she'll be live.
Okay, so Joshua, I think that is good enough for you. All right then. Now let's go back to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds, because I know that time is fast spent. Okay, before then, Dalex Veral says, we'll all try to this Fulani country, Nigeria. Please let Yoruba nation be for God's sake. Yoruba nation, no going back, in Jesus' name. Amen. I think the prayer this morning is a lot. Okay. Yes. So now, Yomi, over to you.
Well, we'll go straight to the social media. Mr. Macaroni, very popular skit actor, has just posted some 19 minutes ago, just as we were discussing about the PVC. A lot of Nigerians are registering for that, and that's also a record about what he's saying here. INEC has recorded over 10 million plus fresh voters, and more are still registering. Nigerians who have never voted before are willing to vote now. No one knows for sure how things will go in 2023 election, but you can't deny that a lot of Nigerians are now awake. So you can see that a lot of Nigerians are still getting their PVC, but the question is, who are they going to vote for when we take out the language, which is English, from Nigeria, as we know? Let me take a look at one or two more, and then we're going to come back again to you in the studio of what is trending this morning. Also, Henry Shield, at Henry Shield. So when are we having the first debate between the presidential candidate to know who is to lead Nigeria out of the Buhari's mess? And the last one before I end this broadcast this morning, hashtag Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a problem of Nigeria insecurity and the economy bankruptcy. This is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, listeners, the updates from Nigeria comes your way every weekday from 11 o'clock, and we'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki doing that all the time for you. Joshua says yes, he's okay. Thank you very much, Joshua. Kosin Mola, he said, even when I went to western region in Ghana, you can never see cow crossing road anyhow. Okay, so he's talking about the herdsmen issue that seems to be going on, and I think that the government has to do something, and the various governors have to put their foot on the ground to make sure that the citizens are protected. The herdsmen, yes, we need proteins, we need all those stuff, and they need to have a corridor for them. Create something. Let us have a sit and talk. But when it comes to the fact that you run your heads through the road and somebody's run them down, and you say because of that you stop the person, you say the person should pay for it, go to the insurance companies. What about that? Well. Somebody said that the insurance companies even work there. No, we're not very sure of. Yummy, before you go.
Well, stay tuned to Archie for the rest of the program. I'll be back again same time tomorrow as usual. And I say, once again, this is Starr Radio UK. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Okay, listeners, that was Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Zinab Odupe, good morning to you, and thumbs up to you as well. We love you to bits as well. Those of you on the YouTube, okay, a branch of flowers to you too. All right, then. Those of you on the YouTube, let me bring you some of the comments there. Ayodele Falaye says Yoruba Nation must surely stand, and Comfort Olugunja says most of Nigeria pastors are politicians. God is watching them. Now Sunday Wale says Yoruba people need to fight for their life before it will be too late for us. Nigeria is dead. Defend yourself. Stopping video Yoruba Nation. Okay, well, continue to keep your comments coming through, but we're going to take a musical break, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. We don't only bring you a program story that is making the rounds in Nigeria, but we bring you all that's happening from across the globe. We're taking you to Ghana, we're taking you to some part of Africa as well. What is happening there? It is All Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Should the UK prepare themselves for war, as the military bosses are saying, that getting the UK all lined up for war? That is a big question and a big worry for others. Now, Zinab Odupe says, thanks so much for the good job, my brother, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and Olajumoke Ajoke TJ says, TJ, it's been a long time. Yeah, he said, well done, say Yoruba Nation has come to stay and nothing can change that. We are moving on. Zainab says, God bless you all, and God bless you all too. Enjoy this music and I'll be with you. Whatever is happening, whether we're going to have election or not, or whatever it is, we need peace for Nigeria, don't we? Enjoy this song and I'll be with you.
Woke up to an eerie morning, the children playing. No sounds of greetings, one neighbor to another. Oh, it's quiet and gloomy. Please don't live here no more. No more.
Can't believe how much we've hurt each other. Can't believe the damage we've done.
Brothers hurting brothers, neighbor harming neighbor.
Children grieving for their parents, hacked down before their time.
I can't go out, I don't know who to trust. Fever's just the other of the day.
Is this the way we want to live?
With peace we don't have to breathe. When peace reigns, fear goes out the door. With peace we can work out our differences, put an end to all the hate. With peace we don't have to breathe. When peace reigns, fear goes out the door. With peace we can work out our differences, put an end to all the hate.
Oh, I know you were hurt. The blow you've been down, so yeah.
Cuts deep like a knife, though we mustn't pay back in kind.
Leave no room in your heart for vengeance and hatred, no, no. An eye for an eye, so leaves everyone blind.
Hey, we have our differences, we cannot change things, making war.
Without peace, all dreams are hold.
Without peace, there's no room to build. So much work to be done to make Nigeria the country of our dreams.
We don't have to be with peace, with peace. When peace reigns, fear goes out the door. With peace, we can work out our differences. We'll end to all the hate. With peace, we don't have to be. When peace reigns, fear goes out the door. To all the hate. Wake up everybody, it's time to build a new day. Enough's enough, let's put the past behind us. It's only when there's peace that we can build a new Nigeria. Enough's enough, let's give peace a chance. Give it a chance.
What do you think that giving peace a chance in Nigeria will solve the issue out for them there at all? Well. Would they go for election 2023? The candidates that have been selected. Do you think that if people go vote for them, I call it a protest vote. So you don't vote for the main political party. So let's say Peter Obi, we think that he comes from the south. Omoyele Sowore. Okay, let's vote to somebody. A protest vote to say that, look, we don't want you, those people, those old folks who are still thinking the same way, and then we want this new breed who will see to unify the country properly and see to address the issue of marginalization, insecurity in the country. Do you think that will work or pan out well for Nigeria as a whole? Well, we're going to be looking into all other stories making the round, but continue to send your comments in. Delex Beryl says, thumbs up to you, Delex. Zina Odupe, you're in Yoruba Nation. Now, no retreat, no surrender. Let me say good morning to Hiniba David. Hey, Mr. Mani, long time. I've not seen you for a couple of almost 3 weeks, right? Okay, Joshua F. Moses says, welcome back. I really enjoyed that song. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you very much for enjoying it. Okay, we'll take a quick commercial break and we come back. We'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe or on the African continent and go elsewhere. But I promise you, I'm going to open the lines at exactly 12 o'clock for you to add your voice to the discussion. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
All ladies, you are invited to our premier 13th annual Women's Conference, Lady to Lady Global Conference 2022. Theme, Joy. Date, Saturday, 30th July. Doors open at 11 a.m. Venue, Fairview's Concert Halls, the Phoenix Theater, Croydon, CR91DG3, United Kingdom. Register on www.ladytoladyglobal.org. Music Minister, CLC Healing Voices. Simeon. Queenie. Ada Ahe.
Congratulations, I have seen the glory of God.
Conference speakers, Reverend Betty King, Pastor Marjorie, Pastor Sandra.
I did come to Lady, and from that day onwards, my life has never been the same.
See you there.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. 7 minutes to the top of the hour, the time, the morning show, and it comes your way every weekday from 10 o'clock. Yes, we bring you a live feed from Sky News, and then we continue. We go to all parts of the world. concentrating on Nigeria, Ghana, the UK, and other parts of the world as well. Maybe wherever you are listening to us from, you want to share with us what is happening in your area. Why not? If it's making the headlines, why not? I promise to touch it. But if you share it with us, I promise to acknowledge you on that one as well. Right, it's All Star Radio UK. Now I want you to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Those of you who are watching us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube page, and every time we are on, you will not miss a thing there. But I know those of you who are listening or watching us from Africa, I know I say it all the time, it costs you an arm and a leg to listen to us or watch us, and you continue to do it religiously, and I dock my heart out for you all. Thank you very much for your support for Starr Radio UK. Tomorrow, yes, God willing, we're going to be bringing you the program again. What program is that? Yes. The Niger Voices will be taking place exactly at 18 hours British summer time or 18 hours UK. Okay, yes, we want to invite you to join in. Mr. Olayomi will be bringing you everything you need to know. That 2.5 hours program is just centered on Nigeria, from Yoruba Nation to the Biafra to everything. You want to know everything? Even if you want to go vote, who do you vote for? You want to know all that? Make sure your dials are locked on Starr Radio UK. Let me say good morning to Sunday Igboho. As I said the other time, it was lovely speaking to you. I was very humbled but how humble you are. I mean, I've met people who throw their weight around but just speaking to him, I was like, wow. Okay, Zainab says, thank you so much, sir, for reading our messages coming on the show. God bless you, Zainab. Okay, now it is now time for us to look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. But let's go to Ghana as well. Now, a pressure group, Arise Ghana, has filed a suit at the Court of Appeal to set aside a ruling by the High Court on their intended demonstration. The Accra High Court on Monday ruled that the protests by Arise Ghana on June 28 and 29 could only be staged between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, the court additionally directed that the protest should commence at the Obra spot here in Accra and end at the Independence Square, but the group are unsatisfied with the ruling of the High Court. In a suit filed by the group, cited that Arise Ghana is seeking an order reversing the ruling of the High Court. The service filed the case seeking to halt the 2-day protest set to that's a police service to commence today. Now, this was after it alleged in a statement that the group Arise Ghana had refused to begin and end the demonstration before nightfall. The group, however, contends to reach an agreement with the police and is therefore surprised at the U-turn of event. The DSP Sylvester Starr urged the court to adjourn the matter since the Ghana Police Service had yet to receive documents filed by the protesters. He asked for a 2-day adjournment there. Okay, well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Some more comments coming through there as well. Zina, thumbs up to you. So we trust him for that. Our White Lion, yes, he will definitely be on tomorrow. Yes, we love you too. Okay, just bear with me. We take a commercial break and I'll bring you the rest of the program. Just bear with me.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the show. It is Starr Radio UK. Let me announce the lines open and then we continue with the program. Now, if you want to call us, it is 0208-133-2257 or 58. 0208-133-2257 or 58. If you happen to be in the US or Canada or the Caribbean area, it is 001-718-303-2737. You can also text or WhatsApp us 0753-966-1744. 0753-966-1744. So send that message in. Okay. You can call us on that one as well. Now tweet at us. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK and our email address is info@starradiouk.com. Now I've got the name of the guest who is going to be appearing on Olayomi's program tomorrow, but I'm going to be announcing it. I'll be putting the poster there in a moment, so just bear with me whilst the technical team working behind the scenes, get it all lined up, and I will be bringing to you. But I can tell you that tomorrow Yomi will be hosting the self-defense Yoruba Nation. The topic that we'll be discussing will be Yoruba Nation self-defense is your legal right. My apologies. Bishop Adeyemo Adeshina is going to be the guest. Well, that's going to be an interesting one. So make sure you make a date with Yomi tomorrow, exactement at 18 hours BST. But well, as I said, I'm going to bring you the poster, or yes, I'm going to file it or run it in the next few moments. So just bear with me whilst I try to do so. But then looking at the story that I did talk about earlier on pertaining to Ghana, my question is, now if government does not allow people to go vent out their anger pertaining to maybe issue that is going on, what way does the government reckon that people will vent out the anger? Which way do they want? The rowdy way? And if people are demonstrating and they decide, okay, we want to start at this time, and then run it till evening because it's a 2-day thing, so that we continue the following day, all that the police has to do is that people are sitting down, you also stand around them. So far as anybody is not breaching the rules of the demonstration or straying to go to other places or causing havoc to or destruction to people's property or public property, I don't think there is anything wrong with that. But what do you think? Well, we'll be looking more into that. Joshua says, I can't get a WhatsApp number, sir. Okay. Joshua, the WhatsApp number is 075-3966-1744. 075-3966-1744. Okay, yeah, that is the WhatsApp number. Okay, now let's let me yes put this. So this is the guest who is going to be appearing on Olayomi Koike's program tomorrow, Bishop Adeyemo Adeshina. He's going to be appearing on the Niger Voices tomorrow, exactly at 6 p.m. That is Lagos time, or 18 hours the UK time, which is still 6 p.m. UK time on the 29th of June 2022. And they'll be looking at Yoruba Nation self-defense. It's your legal right. So how do people defend themselves when it comes to things like that? Well, is it arming themselves or arming themselves with information or knowledge? As some say, knowledge is power. All right then. So that is for you for tomorrow's program. But this afternoon exactly at 1:30, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business. And I want to thank my Nigerian listeners and viewers a lot, because we look at the patronage of that program, and most of you there are watching and enjoy BB's program there as well. And it pertains to business. That ain't cut across only, or it's not only restricted to a particular geographical area. Wherever you are on planet Earth, if you apply it, it will work. If you go to the other planet or you go to the moon or other bit, I think you can still apply that. If there are other people there to patronize what you are, whatever service or whatever you are selling there, you can make it, right? All right then. So make a date with BB Clement this afternoon exactly at 1:30. I am Archie, and it is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. 3 minutes past the top of the hour at the time. The morning show, the program. Okay, Moses Olaniran has said, posted that it's Yoruba Nation now and Biafra, our new Jerusalem here on earth. So let's forget about that Nigeria. Okay, he said that Yoruba Nation is now their new Jerusalem. We know we've asked this question all this while. We said we want the blueprint. We want the blueprint. What is the Yoruba Nation or the Biafra Nation going to do differently from what we are seeing here? Okay, from what we are seeing from Nigeria. What do you think? I want to know. I want at times I want to shake the minds of people to see what they are thinking there. What do you think? Well, are they going to put the same things, or we don't got same old, just another day, or we are going and then we go, and then the people that we put in the helm of affairs try to just malign us again and steal from us again, and what? Well, I would like to know what the blueprints are from the leadership of the various groups. Okay, Liz Dada says Yoruba Nation now, no going back. All right, so continue to let your comments come through, and I promise you I'm going to read that as well. All right then, now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds on the African continent, and still touching on a couple of stories from Ghana. Okay, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has noted that there is a need for both government and all able men and women to do their best to remove barriers that hinder the lives of vulnerable and impoverished. As humans, we owe it a duty not only to each other's to be each other's keeper, but have the burning desire to rescue those perishing while equally caring for the dying, Dr. Bawumia said. Now, Dr. Bawumia said this when he joined the General Overseer of the Charismatic Evangelistic Ministry, CEM, and other like-minded persons over the weekend at a fundraising dinner to raise funds for the CEM Ability Village project aimed at providing ultra-modern shelter and catering to the needs of the disabled. The Vice President congratulated Reverend Dr. Steve Mensah, and let me congratulate them as well. Yes, Reverend Steve Mensah and the Charismatic Evangelistic Ministry for the initiative, and pledged his unflinching support there as well. That is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Don't touch the dial. Continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and put your comments through as and when I have them. I promise you I'm gonna read them across as well. Now, when it comes to the ruling party in Ghana, the NPP, 7 MPP young brains chase MP seats in Adenta, Savulugu, and others. Now, from the chief executive of NEIP, Kofi Ofosun Kansa, to the top officer of the National Youth Authority, NYA, Pius Enam Hajidi, and his deputy Akosua Menu, and the seat of government Jubilee House, some young appointees of the Akufo-Addo government are set to cause an upset in the upcoming New Patriotic parliamentary primaries. Now, Eugene Ahin and Hajia Fathia Aziz from the Jubilee House are said to be targeting the Wutu Senya West and Savulugu seats, respectively, after years of loyalty to President Nana Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House. Is it that they know that now Akufo-Addo is going to be going out, and therefore their position will be affected, and therefore want to find ways and means? Now, this will be following they will be following in the path of Francis Asensu-Boakye and Samuel Jinapo, who left the seat of government as senior staffers to win parliamentary seats in Bantama and Damango, respectively, in 2020. Now, so to say, Pius Hajidi is also staging a boot-for-boot showdown with former Ghana Ports boss Paul Ansa for the Sujeman constituency seat, where the latter is two-time veteran. Mr. Hajidi's chances are rated as below average. Now, Mr. Hajidi's deputy Akosua Menu is also eyeing the Adenta seat, currently held by the opposition member Mohammed Ramadan after he squarely defeated Yabwa Benga Samoa, an MPP incumbent. It is not clear yet whether Boabena Samoa will be interested after his humiliation in the last election. Akosua Menu has started direct overtures towards the seat to ward off competitors. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And one more story from Ghana, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, a couple of them. My apologies. Now, NDC is bemoaning the prosecution of murder cases. The Opposition National Democratic Congress has bemoaned non-prosecution of what they describe as politically motivated murders under the Kufuor-led administration. Now, in the quote, they said, "We note with extreme regret and astonishment that absolutely none of the numerous murders committed under the watch of President Kufuor has seen any finality in prosecution and due punishment for the perpetrators." President Kufuor is in his 6th year of governing this nation, and yet, despite his well-known advocacy for law and order and human rights during his long sojourn in opposition, the government that he leads has had the highest number of politically motivated murders in the Fourth Republic. The NDC disclosed in a statement on June the 26th, 2022, to mark the first anniversary of the death of Kaka at Ejura in Ashanti region. The statement, signed by the communication director of the NDC, Kakra Esuma, disclosed that citizens are living in fear as a result of what he says is the unlawful use of force by security forces. Accordingly, they said, "We demand justice for from the president for all who have perished in the numerous clashes between the security forces and ordinary citizens, and in particular Ibrahim Muhammad alias Kaka and 2 other citizens of Ejura who died alongside Kaka," he stated. But why has the government not prosecuted anybody? Is it that the police have not got enough evidence? And again, when it comes to legal aid in Ghana, is there anything of the sort? So that if somebody we are no win, no pay. Okay, when we have a case where some of these legal brains and lawyers can take some of the cases on and say that, well, because we look at the way or we see the way this person is being treated, we want to go out there and fight for that person, and therefore, I mean, we have a chest of money or some group of people who can go and represent these people. And by so doing, I think that they will put government under pressure for them to either investigate the whole case or whatever is going on in there. Rather than somebody a whole year now and nobody has been prosecuted. I mean, what is going on? Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, still on the African continent, in Sudan, Abdel Fattah Barham has visited the Alpha Shaka after 7 of his soldiers were killed in Ethiopia. Now, General Abdel Fattah Burhan, head of Sudan's ruling sovereign council, visited Al-Shaka in the east of Sudan yesterday after Ethiopia killed 7 Sudanese soldiers and a civilian in the border area. The incident was the latest sign of deteriorating ties between the East African nations. A Sudanese military statement late on Sunday described the killing as cowardly act and said Khartoum will retaliate. The killings violated all laws and customs of war and international humanitarian law. The statement said it said Ethiopia displayed the bodies out in the open. It did not provide further details, including how a civilian farmer was also involved. Now, Sudanese media outlet Monte Carlo posted a graphic photo online purportedly showing the bodies of 7 dead in military uniforms lying motionless as a group of people looked on. It said the bodies were of the dead soldiers. Now, Sudan's foreign ministry said in a statement on Monday the aid had been taken into Ethiopia after the soldiers were held captive in an area inside Sudan on June the 22nd. The ministry said it was recalling the Sudanese ambassador from Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa and summoned the Ethiopian envoy in Khartoum to protest the killings It also said it will complain to the United Nations. Now, Ethiopia's foreign ministry confirmed the killings in what is described as tragic incident. It said in a statement that a Sudanese military unit crossed into Ethiopia with the support of rebels from the Tigray region and suggested that's when they were killed. The government of Ethiopia, therefore, hopes that the Sudanese government will restrain itself from any escalation of the incident and will take measures that could de-escalate the situation, the statement said without elaborating. So what has caused the death of these people, and why did they enter or stray into Ethiopia following the Tigray? Is it that they were thinking that they were mercenaries that were being brought in there to come and help the Tigray group? Well, we'll be looking more into that. A father of convicted Moroccan facing possible execution in Ukraine plead for mercy. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there. Will the Russians hearken to that? That is another question that is being posed. But in Africa still, Malawi court has sentenced 12 for murder and transacting human tissues of man with albinism. A Malawi court on Monday sentenced a Catholic priest to 30 years and several other people to life in prison over the gruesome 2018 murder of a man with albinism. Now, Judge Dorothy Nyakwanda Kamanga said Thomas Muhosha had planned to traffic 22-year-old McDonald Masambuka's tissue. The offense was motivated by the disability of the deceased, that of albinism. Now, she said in ruling handed down in the city of Blantyre. Now, she said the priest who led a parish in Machinga, 100 kilometers northeast of Blantyre, had breached the trust many had placed in him. So why did the priest want to do that? For what? Now, 5 other suspects were handed life sentences. Now, the killing occurred at the height of a spree that saw over 40 people with albinism murdered and scores others assaulted. Now, one of 5 convicted was the victim's brother. The convicts took advantage of the deceased's psychological need for love, the judge said. They lured him into believing that they had found a prospective wife for him. Oh my goodness. And that they should go and meet her. That ended up being his death trap. A total of 12 people were handed various sentences over the killing. From 2014, Malawi suffered a wave of assault against albinos whose body parts were used in witchcraft rituals in the superstitious belief that they brought wealth and luck. Do they? That's the question. But 60 minutes past the top of the hour, the time, Starr Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program, still in Africa. The Guinea Prime Minister has met political parties to ease tensions. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there, and that's a good move there. The Guinean Prime Minister Mohamed Bouvogue has met with political parties to ease tensions after the National Front for the Defense of the Constitution, FNDC, suspended its call for a demonstration that was due to be the first major protest rally under the now ruling junta. The FNDC has called for people to take to the streets on Thursday in defiance of a recent protest ban announced by the military leaders who overthrew former President Alpha Conde in September. Now, only an inclusive approach adapted to the Guinean reality will enable us to lay the foundation for the good life together that we all aspire to. Now, we have already set up an inter-ministerial council, a group of colleagues. We are going to refine the group as we go along. You also have to get organized. The government is counting on the good faith and of all the participants in this constitution. The Prime Minister of the transitional government, Mohamed, told the political parties, civil society organizations, and trade unions. Now, Guinea has been ruled by a military junta since Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya overthrew President Alpha Conde in September 2021. The authorities have set the duration of the transition at 3 years. This meeting between the country's political forces comes less than a week before a summit of the Economic Community of West African States, which is expected to decide on an extension of economic sanctions. At least they're given 3 years for them to return the country into civilian rule. Now, 2 attempts of consultations have already taken place since early 2022, but they were boycotted by a number of organizations, including the National Alliance for Change and Democracy, ANAD, and the National Front for the Defense of Constitution, the FNDC. This time, both political coalitions were present. The FNDC, which had orchestrated months of mobilization against Mr. Conde from 2019 to 2021, had suspended Wednesday its call for a demonstration against the duration of the transition to give a chance to dialogue proposed by the Prime Minister. Now, he posed a precondition for its participation in the dialogue, the acceptance of mediator of ECOWAS. Now, conversely, the resemblance du Peuple de Guinea, the former ruling party, refused to take part and conditioned its participation on the release of its imprisoned leaders and an end to the persecution and arrest of political leaders. It is essential that each of us here understand once and for all that only agenda that counts is that of the people, said the Prime Minister in his opening remarks. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 90 minutes past the top of the hour. It is a Tuesday edition of the morning show. I am Archie, and we're looking at some of the stories making the rounds on the African continent. Okay, now one other story from Africa, and then we'll move on to other parts of the world as well. Now, father of a convicted Moroccan facing a possible execution in Ukraine for have pleaded for mercy for his son, and it's quite an interesting piece there, but I'm going to bring you the details of that story. The story says that the father of a Moroccan man facing possible execution by Russia-backed separatists in Ukraine appealed on Monday to Russian President Vladimir Putin to intervene as a father to spare his son from the firing squad. I want my son back, just like any father would, Taher Sadoun said to reporters in the Moroccan capital Rabat. Now, Sadoun also called on Moroccan government to pursue negotiations on behalf of his son Brahim, who was sentenced on June 9 to the death penalty alongside 2 Britons, Aiden Aislinn and Sean Payne. Now, a court itself proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic convicted all 3 of terrorism and trying to overturn constitutional order. They were given a month to appeal and could be executed as soon as early July if they don't. Now, Sadoun's father insisted that Brahim was not a mercenary, as the court claims, but was enlisted in Ukraine's regular army. The Republic's foreign minister Natalia Nikonorova told Russian state TV on Monday that none of the 3 death sentence men have filed yet for pardons. The father said Brahim's local lawyer will submit the appeal as soon as things have calmed down a bit without providing a date. Well, so when are they going to do that? So that they said that, well, silence means consent, and therefore they'll just take them and go and execute them. But what are the various countries? I mean, we know Great Britain, and then the Moroccan authorities, what are they doing about this whole situation there? Do you think that they will by so means get him to be released, or maybe just face imprisonment? Okay. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time to 12:22. One other story my producer is just alerting me to. Let me just bring that your way and we'll move on from there. Well, we've been calling for peace in Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopian government says it has created a 7-member committee to hold peace talks with Tigrayan forces in a bid to end the 19-month civil war. It is to be chaired by the country's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen. It goes on to say Ethiopia's Justice Minister Gediwon Timotheus, who is also a member of the committee, said the governing party will only agree to the African Union leading the peace process. The correspondent says there is a potential stumbling block for the negotiations as Tigrayan forces have criticized the AU's efforts and have said they want the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta to mediate. Now, what is going to happen? We'll be watching very, very closely. There are some of the stories making the rounds from the African continent. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's take a quick break. We come back and we'll look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car, at home, on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio UK.
devotes Ghana. Sufre Winyami, call on your girl. By the one and only original Amachi Dede there. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed that tune. If you missed out on that, don't you worry. During the end of the program, I'll be bringing it your way once again. So stay tuned, don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 28 minutes past the top of the hour. Exactly at 1 o'clock, we'll be bringing the program to a close, and we'll be taking you straight to BB Clement on BB Means Business, where she looks like at how to enhance your business wherever you might be, even talking to make money, and other business means that, or latest means or modern means that you can use to enhance your business, whatever it is. So as I said earlier on, it doesn't matter where you are on earth. If you apply it, it will work. Okay, so continue to listen to Starr Radio. You can Starr Radio continue to bring your programs tailored, measured to meet your needs, to help you to ascend in life. Okay, so now let's move on to some of the other stories that we're looking at this morning from across other parts of the world. Sad story that came through this morning, and I was asking myself when I saw it at dawn, when I was watching some of the watching news or monitoring some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. Now, Texas migrant death, at least 46 found dead in an abandoned truck. Now, for sure, whoever owns that truck will be found. So even if they fled the scene, it's just for a matter of time, a period of time, but they will definitely be found. Now, the story says at least 46 people have been found dead in an abandoned truck on the outskirts of San Antonio in Texas. A fire official said 16 people, including 4 children, had also been taken to hospital. The survivors were hot to the touch and suffering from heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Now, San Antonio, which is 250 kilometers or 150 miles from the US-Mexican border, is a major transit route for people smugglers. Now, human traffickers often use trucks to transport undocumented migrants after meeting them in remote areas once they have managed to cross into the United States. They had families. They were likely trying to find better life for themselves, San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg said. It's nothing short of a horrific human tragedy. Now, emergency responders initially arrived at the scene at about 18 hours local time, that's 23 hours GMT, after responding to report of a dead body. San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood said, "Now, we're not supposed to open up a truck and see stacks of bodies in there. None of us come to work imagining that," he said. Now, he added that the vehicle, which had been abandoned by its driver, had no working air conditioning, and there was no drinking water inside it. Now, San Antonio climate is blisteringly hot in the summer months, with temperatures there reaching up to about 39.4 degrees Celsius. That is 103 Fahrenheit. On Monday, and it is suspected that the victims likely died from heat exhaustion and dehydration. Now, Mexico's Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard said that 2 Guatemalans were among those taken to hospital. The nationalities of other victims was not immediately clear. Now, 3 people are being held in custody, and the investigation has been handed over to the federal agents. Now, Mexican Consul General Rubin Minotti has been dispatched to the scene, and the consulate in San Antonio said it will provide all support if Mexican citizens are among the dead. Now, Edward Reyna, a security guard at a lumber yard just yards away, said he was not surprised to arrive for his night shift and hear the news. He said he had lost count of the times he had seen migrants jumping off train that passes right next to where the truck was found. He said, "I thought sooner or later somebody was going to get hurt, Mr. Reyna said. The cartels that bring them over don't care about them. Now, this story has played out in San Antonio before, but not this magnitude. In 2017, 10 migrants were found dead inside a similar tractor trailer outside a Walmart, also on the city south side. The San Antonio far south side is a corridor with two main highways connecting the city of Texas border towns. Now, mostly rural communities, a few junkyards, and a handful developing neighborhoods in this part of San Antonio make it easy for a truck this size to go unnoticed until it doesn't. Now, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, whose department has taken over the investigation, said human smugglers are callous individuals who have no regard for the vulnerable people they exploit and endanger in order to make a profit. Now, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott blamed U.S. President Joe Biden for the deaths, describing them as a result of his deadly open border policies. Now, Beto O'Rourke, the Democratic candidate running against Mr. Abbott, said the reports were devastating and called for urgent actions to dismantle human smuggling rings and replace them with expanded avenues of legal migration. Now, immigration is a contentious political issue in the United States, where in May a record 239,000 undocumented migrants were detained crossing into the country from Mexico. Now, many traveling along extremely risky and unsafe routes. Now, U.S. law enforcement officials are on track to exceed the record of 1.73 million border arrests made in 2021, with a large number of people continuing to cross from Central American countries such as Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. Now, fleeing poverty and violence in Central America, many of the undocumented migrants end up paying huge sums of cash to people smugglers to get them across the U.S. border. Now, over recent years, there have been many similar examples of migrants perishing during their journey, but no single event as deadly as what was discovered on Monday. Now, after the tragedy was discovered, the Catholic Archbishop of San Antonio, Gustavo Garcia Sela, tweeted, "Lord, have mercy on them. They hoped for a better life." Once again, the lack of courage to deal with immigration reform is killing and destroying lives, he added. Now, speaking, Cairns 5 local reporter Matt Huston said, it is our understanding right now that if this is a human smuggling incident, as it appears, it will be the deadliest of its kind in America. In American history. He said the risks faced by families crossing into the United States were formidable, and in recent days the area had been struck by a heat wave. That's a very, very sad story. Now, where were these people going to just get a better life for themselves and maybe for their families? But the question is, what are the where the push factors? If I say where, okay, what are, because it's still going on, what are the push factors and what are the pull factors? We see it here where the channel crossing, where now with whether the repatriation of people to Rwanda is going to stop them from doing so, people don't care. But one story or one issue that bothers me when it comes to that of the UK front and Europe is that now the international law for immigration says that once you cross, to a safe haven, the first safe haven, you have to apply for asylum there. So they are in France, and it's not like France is just a border to let's say Afghanistan or to no, it's not. So these people travel through various countries and cross and cross and cross and cross. So that means that their motive or their thought is that we want to come to the UK. So what is the UK doing for people like that to want to come here? Someone will say, well, we are looking at the liberty that is here. We are looking at the economic situation here, and we think that it's better off than where we are, and therefore we want to move it. Now, if you look at the way our countries, or especially what we talk about advanced countries, have actually dealt with developed countries. Some that they have maligned, some that they've stolen their wealth, some that the deals that they strike with our countries as well, which is not giving enough to go around to cater for people, so that people can at least say, look, I want to live in my country. At least I know when I go to work and I come back, though I might not have access to do that, at least I'm able to manage things. But you take a case of Ghana, you take a case of, see how desperate, take Nigeria, take how desperate people are. Why wouldn't they want to pay whatever and take dangerous means, or use dangerous means to see whether they can get to a country where their dreams can be realized? It's very, very sad. It's a very, very sad situation or story there. But what can be done about that? What can be done about that? It shows the desperation. And therefore, when I see our leaders sitting and going to conferences and when they're supposed to negotiate deals, they go on like Ghana, look at the oil deals and everything, and look at the percentage that we are making out of it. You know, then I ask myself the question: are people actually thinking at all? How long can we go on this path? Well, it is Starr Radio UK. So when you have a country where people are struggling and you have the president flying on a private jet, top of the range one, of course, top of the class, whichever they want to term it, and he said, no, you know what? He's been doing this all this while before he even became a president, so it's cool. Really? Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. Now moving on to other parts of the world. Well, the Russians are still embarking on their journey. The journey, is it of conquering Ukraine or disarming Ukraine? And as whether that is going to happen or not, it's another story. But well, confirmation coming through. The Kremenchuk strike. One of the people who were hurt in there were saying they didn't think, they weren't sure that that was going to happen there. They weren't sure that that was going to happen there. Let's take a quick break and I will be with you. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business, but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program, to the final segment of the program, and we're still looking at some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Let me read a couple of comments that have come through as well. Central Coco, XXXXXX, okay, to you as well. I don't know what that means though. And then Liz Dada says Yoruba Nation now, no going back as well. Thank you very much for your comments there. As I said, if you post your comments, I promise to read them out as well. But now let's look at some of the other stories, as I did say earlier on. Now, the Maxim Muzienko 26 was at his Maxim Muzienko 26 was at his job in an electronics store at the Kremenchuk shopping mall on Monday, helping customers to buy air conditioners to combat the summer heat. He says there were about 100 customers in the shop at the time. Now we were working. There were a lot of people in the shop, but I don't remember anything after that, he says. Now, at 16 hours local time, a Russian missile struck the mall in the center of the city. At least 18 people were killed and 59 left injured. The toll is expected to rise. The shopping center is not a place of danger for the Russians. We thought we were away from the frontier, Maxim says. And he has a shrapnel wound, concussion, and multiple scratches on him, a very sad one. He said his wife Victoria sits by his side in the hospital. They just celebrated the anniversary and it's her birthday next week. She was at home when the explosion struck and instantly tried to call her husband, fearing the worst. He picked up his phone and said he was in the center of the fire, she says. Now, Victoria's neighbors helped her get to the site of the shopping center. Everything was black, and then the neighbors said he was in the hospital, she says. We didn't invade anyone. We just want to leave, Maxim adds. And that brings us to the G7 meeting that took place. That was Sunday, Monday. And the NATO conference that is also going to take place from today as well. But the story says Putin's way out is to accept plans won't succeed. That's what Scholz is saying. Back now to German, the German Chancellor Scholz, who's also been making concluding remarks after the G7. He stressed countries can determine their own fate and should not be attacked by their neighbors. Now, he condemns Monday's strike on a shopping center in Kremenchuk, which he says is yet again proof that Putin is keeping up his brutal aggression against the population in Ukraine. Now, referring to ongoing Western sanctions, Scholz continues, there is only one way out for Putin to accept that his plans in Ukraine will not succeed. He says G7 countries will consider a price cap on Russian oil and hope to tackle soaring energy prices triggered by Moscow's invasion. He adds 4.5 billion, that's 3.7 billion pounds, will be spent on tackling global hunger and made worse. That has been made worse by the Russian war in Ukraine. Because of friends, there are other stories making the round. The world leaders vowed to make Russia pay for its invasion of Ukraine at the end of the G7 summit in Germany. Now, it goes on, friends, so we'll continue to keep up and drive up the economic and political costs of this war. Germany Chancellor Olaf Scholz says the G7 leaders agree to work on a price cap for Russian oil, push for a ban on gold imports, and call on countries not to stockpile food. As the G7 wraps up, world leaders will travel to Madrid later for a NATO summit. They are expected to approve plans to increase the number of troops on high alert. Now, Ukraine's president has denounced a Russian missile strike and a Ukrainian shopping center as one of the most brazen terrorist acts in European history. Around 1,000 people were in the building in Kremenchuk on Monday when the attack happened. Now, Volodymyr Zelensky said at least 18 are dead, 25 in hospital, with dozens more missing, and fear the number of victims could rise. But more from the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson now. He was talking about the Russian missile attack in Kremenchuk. He says news of Monday's attack broke while G7 leaders were in session. You could feel the mood of the meeting become yet more somber, he says. Now, people are shocked at the at what Putin is capable of doing, Johnson says, saying this was utter barbarism. If anything, it helped those of us who are making the case for helping to protect Ukrainians to get the message across to those people who are swing voters, he adds. The G7 has shown unity and determination to support Ukraine, Johnson said. Well, so those are some of the stories making the rounds there. But now, here in the UK, and let's look at some of the stories making, but just to link it straight to what is happening in Ukraine or Russia as a whole. Now, the Defense Secretary, Ben Wallace, is urging the Prime Minister to increase spending on the UK's armed forces in light of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He already successfully pushed for higher spending in 2020, but will say in a speech later that the threat has now changed. The UK currently spends around 2% of its GDP on defense, matching the target NATO sets for its members. But Mr. Wallace is expected to ask Prime Minister to increase it to 2.5% by 2028. Now, Russia's aggression has been the catalyst for Mr. Wallace to step up the pressure, which he will do in a rare public appeal at a conference hosted by the Royal United Service Institute think tank later. He will tell the events that government must be prepared to invest more to keep people safe. Now, General Sir Patrick Sanders, the new head of armed forces, spoke at the same event. He said he had never known such a clear threat at the brutal aggression of President Putin, and likened the current conflict in Ukraine to the build-up to the Second World War, describing it as 1937 moments for the UK. He said, "We are living through a period of history as profound as the one our forebears did 80 years ago." He said, "The mobilization effort must start now to prevent war, not provoke it," according to the general. But with the UK, upping up their game, the security, do you think it's going to infuriate or anger the Russians or Putin per se to say, well, they're upping up their games, now let's try, now take the war to their door front? After a decade of defense cuts, the government announced what is described as an additional 16.5 billion of spending over 4 years in 2020. But rising inflation and costs mean that that may not be enough to meet the Defense Secretary's ambition, and ministers now believe they have compelling case for a further increase of giving Russia aggression in Ukraine. In March, Mr. Wallace wrote to Chancellor Rishi Sunak asking for extra investment, and this has now been followed by a letter to the Prime Minister, which has been leaked. In it, the Defense Secretary also urges the Prime Minister to call on other NATO leaders to raise the spend per country to 2.5% of national income. We are arming ourselves. What do we intend doing with that? This is coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to what? 10 minutes to the top of the hour. And it is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Now, exactly at 1:30, as I announced earlier on, we'll be having BB Clement joining us on BB Means Business, bringing you BB Means Business, a program that helps your business front. Okay. Now, looking at a couple of stories before we bring the program to a close for today. Well, the population of England and Wales grew by 6% in a decade. Oh man. The population of England and Wales has risen to 59.5973 million as a result of the 2021 census show. It grew by more than 3.5 million since the last census in 2011, and there are more people over 65 than ever. Now, when added to published census figures for Northern Ireland and official estimates of the Scottish population for 2020, the UK population now stands at 66.966400. The rise is one of the biggest since the census began in 1801, and it shows the population rose in each of the English region and Wales. The census carried out every 10 years asks people to answer questions about themselves, their household, and their home to build a detailed snapshot of society. The results are intended to help organizations make decisions on planning and funding public services such as transport, education, and healthcare. The 2021 survey was carried out on the 21st of March last year and came against the backdrop of Brexit, which has seen restrictions on immigration and the coronavirus pandemic. So if upon all that we have an increment of 6%, my goodness, as that band sang the song, Wayaya, we are on our way, we are still going. But where are we going? Yes, I will tell you more on that front. It is Starr Radio UK. Let me touch on one of the football pundits that I have now, and a lady, of course. A TV pundit and former England defender Alex Scott says she intends to continue as a football presenter despite receiving misogynistic comments. How mean can people be? She said she had tweets suggesting she sticks to ironing and cooking, but feels as a responsibility to change perceptions. Now, Scott 37 has also been criticized for her accent, with one senior politician suggesting she have elocution lessons. Senior politician. Now, despite abuse, the former Streetplay star said she wanted to stay on air. She will be part of the BBC's coverage of the Women's European Championship next month. The ex-Arsenal right back, who made 140 appearances for England and has faced pushback since making the switch to television presenting, including the former Labour minister and ex-House of Lords member Digby Jones last year, who criticized her pronunciation and asked if someone could give her elocution lessons. It's very sad. The TV presenter, who is also a guest host of the One Show, said she had told the director of sport, Barbara Slater, that she didn't want to be taken off air because then who wins? Now, Scott said, I've had so many tweets saying I should be at home ironing or cooking. I don't care about those, but sometimes people threaten my life and those have to be taken seriously. It is my responsibility to change perception by sitting in that chair and talking about football. Hosts England are among the favorites for the Women's European Championships, which begins on the 6th of July. Now, led by Dutch manager Serena Wigman, who won the Women's Euros with the Netherlands in 2017, England's first challenge will come on the opening night as they face Austria at Manchester United Old Trafford Stadium. Now, because of this, I'm going to be watching that program. I'm going to be following her as well. I don't like people who hide behind the scenes, insulting people, and it is sad in these modern times that we continue to do so. Well, it is Starr Radio UK, and I want you, if you are watching us, to also, when she's anytime she's on, give her the support that she needs. Alex Scott, her name, and just Google it, you find out. Very pretty, a young lady doing something for herself. Let's support her. All right, then. It is Starr Radio UK. We're going to be bringing the program to a close, but that will be after this sad story that broke last night. A woman killed in a suspected stranger attack in the earlier hours on Sunday was a kind soul, friends have said. Zara Alina, 35, was assaulted walking along the Cranbrook Road towards Gants Hill Station in Ilford, East London. She died later in hospital. A 29-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder in what police say was an opportunist stranger attack. Her friend Sophie said she was the nicest person you could ever meet, always positive. Now, she lit up the whole room. She added she could talk to anyone for hours. Now, paramedics were at the scene of the assault at about 02:45 BST on Sunday after Miss Alina, who lived locally was found by members of the public. In a statement, Chief Superintendent Stuart Bell said it is now believed that she was the victim of an opportunist stranger attack. Her family are aware of this and they will continue to be updated. He added there was no evidence of any weapons being used in the beating, which left Miss Alina with fatal head injuries. A post-mortem examination revealed she had multiple serious injuries. One of the victims' friend said that she refused the offer of a taxi home, preferring to walk the 2-mile journey instead. Miss Alina was known as a fast walker and loved walking. Again, our children, our girl child, when they go out walking in the street, the late of night or the dead of night, and see what happened to them. Now, Chief Superintendent Bell said a full forensic examination of the scene and surrounding areas has taken place and has had house-to-house inquiries as officers worked at pace to establish what had happened. Now, other friends of Miss Alina said she was so soft and gentle. She never had a bad word to say about anyone. Karina, who did not provide her surname, and Sharit Nar described her as someone who cared and looked after all her friends and was a lifeline for her mother and grandmother as she did all their shopping and arranged their medication. The friends who had known Miss Alina for years said she graduated in October after extensive studying and had only been working at the Royal Courts of Justice for a few weeks. What a way, a sad one there. But well, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. God willing, I'll be back coming your way tomorrow with another edition of the morning show. But like I said, this afternoon exactly at 1:30, I'll be bringing you BB Means Clement with BB Means Business with BB Clement. My apologies. And that is a tailored measured program to meet your need when it comes to your profession or your work or your business. So on that note, let me say thank you very much once again for tuning in to join me today. It's been a pleasure coming your way. I'll be with you, God willing, tomorrow, as I said. But wherever you are, keep safe. And like I will say with my Nigerian listeners, may Nigeria never happen to you, wherever you might be. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy this song that I brought you earlier on from Devox GH, Devox Ghana, a rendition of a Match of the Day song, Sufre Winyame in a cappella. Bye-bye for now.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening.